Hi everyone, it's Danielle again. I am doing another vlog. It appears that you guys cannot get rid of me. As you can see, the scenery behind me has changed a little bit. I have been slowly reorganizing my apartment because we acquired a whole bunch of new furniture, which is awesome, but our apartment is tiny and requires extra shelving. I just got home from the gym. I am sweaty, so luckily you cannot smell me. And I apologize in advance if I start rasping or coughing. My allergies are really bad today, and I did cardio, which always makes me wheeze because I have asthma, and it's a long story, but yeah. So if I start coughing, nothing against you. I just have shitty lungs. So, one person did me the favor of asking me a question. Thank you, Dan. Or Danny. So the question is, how did I get into powerlifting? And it's kind of a long story. So I've been lifting for 15 months now. And it started in the September... I started in January 2011, and I started exercising in January 2010, or September 2010, sorry. So, some of you may or may not know, I have a very long, convoluted medical history that mostly began in college. It was like I went to college and turned 20 and my body self-destructed. I was constantly sick. My stomach broke. That's a long story. I had infection after infection after infection of kidneys, sinuses, lungs, other places that everything was infected, and it was because my stomach wasn't digesting food, and that just led to a whole bunch of shittiness. In addition to being ill, my senior year of high school, I fell on my tailbone several times because of all of the fucking ice in Spokane. And then when I came to college, my freshman year of college, I fell off of an 8-foot lofted bed onto my tailbone, and then after that healed, I slipped while playing frisbee in the mud because my school watered the grass in winter, which, if anyone knows, winter in Tacoma is just rain, so it was unnecessarily green and muddy. So essentially, I have fallen on my tailbone a whole bunch of times. I'm pretty certain I broke it at least once. However, not having medical insurance forever, I wasn't sure. And that started impacting my sciatic nerve. It became really uncomfortable to sit for long periods of time. Walking would start causing my, if I was going to walk around for a long time, it would cause my entire leg to just shoot with pain. So essentially, no matter what I did, I was in pain. I couldn't even sleep on my back. It was quite serious, and I probably should have gone to the doctor, but it's a little too late now. So that's my history. Now, my boyfriend's history, because he's the one who got me into fitness. My boyfriend has been a smoker for a long time, or he was a smoker. Because that's what happens when you grow up in a rural area and have nothing to do, is kids do things that they shouldn't do, especially when parents aren't paying close enough attention. So my boyfriend has been smoking for a really long time, and in the summer of 2010, he had decided that he had had it. He had tried patches, he had tried chewing gum, he had tried sucking on suckers, he had tried pretty much everything to quit smoking, and nothing had worked. Anytime he got anxious, he just had to have a cigarette. So that led us to the culmination. He wanted to quit smoking, and I was done with being sick. I was done with being unhealthy, because it had gotten me to a really depressing place to be constantly ill and feeling like hell all the time. So I was ready to make a change and hoping that change would allow me to live a semi-normal life where I'm not in and out of the ER every couple of months. So, summer of 2010, we started running because he had read online on Reddit that running can be a really good source of anxiety relief for people who needed to quit smoking, where the reason they smoked was anxiety. So we started Couch to 5K. In addition to the Couch to 5K, we did like the 100 push-ups program, the 200 sit-ups, and the 200 squat program. So we did that 3 times a week, and it worked. By the end, I was able to do 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, 200 squats, and run 5K. However, when you have a pinched nerve in your leg and have been sedentary for a long time due to school, running can be quite painful. I'm not really meant to run. I'm getting better, and weightlifting has certainly helped by balancing the muscles, but, I have bad knees. In the 7th grade, I was diagnosed with runner's knees because I'm so hyperpronated that I just wore my cartilage out. And I'm also hyperpronated, which, affects the positioning of everything, and I have shit form, and so running is really hard and terrible for me. So we made it through the summer. We were running. He liked running a lot better than I did. He can now go run like 10 miles without even really thinking about it. 5 miles. He could probably run a marathon with a little bit of training, not much. It's kind of insane since he weighs like well over 200 pounds. He just like bounces along. Anyway, so end of summer. Winter in Tacoma is really long and really shitty, and we both hate the rain, and it's cold and damp and pretty much awful, and we didn't want to be outside anymore. I was just ready to be like, I'll exercise in the summer and sit during the winter. There isn't really fall or spring, it's winter. I was ready to be a seasonal exerciser, but Dan, my boyfriend, not the same Dan who asked me this question, by the way, there's a lot of Dans, he didn't want to quit exercising because it had helped him deal with anxiety so much. So he had started researching different forms of exercise on the internet, and he came across Reddit's fitness forum, which, once you get to advanced stages or even intermediate stages, our fitness is kind of a joke. But they are very good at recommending to beginners who want to start exercising or become better at exercising. They are very good at recommending starting strength or strong lifts. So in October, Dan started lifting weights. Now, he had lifted weights in high school because he had been on the football team. And so he was excited to get back into that again. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to go to the gym. I used to kind of lift weights in high school, but it was mostly me doing random shit on the leg press and lat pull down and not keeping track of any weights and, 10-pound bicep curls, because that's the only dumbbell exercise that I knew of. So he started lifting weights, and I went back to being sedentary, and my body started freaking out again. I got my second kidney infection, and, you know, started getting pneumonia frequently again, and I didn't want to happen. Around the same time, so probably a lot of you know that I constantly complain about guys being creepy to me, and not just like I'm making up creepy. Like when I tell people what they do, they're like, holy fucking shit, why did you let, like, I'm surprised you let them get that close. Like one story is I was scraping ice off my car after class, and this guy was driving down the road, and all of a sudden he veered off the road in front of my car and jumped out of his running car with the door wide open. This big ass man. He was like 6'3" and 240 pounds. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Sorry for all the swearing, it's just how I am. And he did this just to tell me that he thought I was the most beautiful person he had ever seen. Now, I chalk a lot of the creepy up to living in the area that I do. Tacoma used to be worse than it is now, but it's still, most of Tacoma is still pretty sketchy. A lot of gang violence, a lot of drug use, murders, rapes. You don't go to certain parks by yourself, you don't go to certain parks ever. It's a pretty sketchy place to live, and you have to be really careful. Well, you know, that guy wasn't the only guy who was extra creepy in a length of time, but he was like the pinnacle. He was like I need to learn how to protect myself. So I started talking with my boyfriend, Dan, and he used to do Taekwondo, and he thought me learning a martial art would be really good for self-defense. But then one day we were kind of playing around, and we realized, or I realized, he probably already knew this, that it doesn't matter how much theory about self-defense you know and how well you practice in class. When you are a tiny, weak female, like, I am 5 feet tall, and at the time I was 120 pounds of, like, 26% body fat. Really weak because I was always sick. It doesn't matter how much self-defense I know, a big guy can literally just pick me up and run with me. Because I'm not strong enough or I wasn't strong enough for any punches or kicks to be effective. Like, I, did something like punch Dan with like 80% of my power, and it didn't even, I was like, what, are you trying to hurt me? And I realized that I needed to become stronger, and this entire time, I told you this was a really long story. Anyway, this entire time, Dan was lifting weights and being like, you should come to the gym with me. I would like a workout partner. You should come to the gym with me. So one day I finally was like, fine, I'll go to the gym with you. And he taught me how to do squats. Of course, the first time I did squats, the first few times I had to do them with dumbbells, because one, I didn't have the flexibility to hold the bar on my back properly while bending my legs down. Like, I could only do them with dumbbell squats, plus it hurt really bad because I had no muscle in my back. So he taught me how to do squats and bench, and the next session he taught me how to do deadlifts, and it just kind of stuck. We started working out on a regular basis, and by a regular basis I mean like 5 days a week, sometimes 7, because we got a little crazy about it for a while. But we just kind of went, and it stuck because it was our bonding time, and we both really enjoyed the feeling of being stronger. Now, we started doing powerlifting and focusing on strength building versus hypertrophy because, one, he wanted to be stronger. He works in a warehouse where he ships construction supplies, so he's moving heavy metal rod, giant pallets, kegs of bolts. Like, he frequently has to pick up over a few hundred pounds on the regular at his job. And so he wanted to be stronger so that it would be easier and less taxing for him to work. And I wanted to be stronger because at the time, I was like, I don't need to change my body's fine. And, you know, I was the kind of girl who was like, oh, I'm never going to be any smaller. Yeah, don't lie to yourself. It'll keep you ill. So we started strength training because we didn't want to focus on what we looked like. It was about having fun and being healthy. So that's how we got started, and it kind of progressed and progressed and progressed. I didn't really know that I was doing powerlifting until a friend of mine through Reddit and Photocracy. Her username is Tanglisha. Her real name is Liz. Or, it's not Tanglisha. She pronounces it, it's Chinese. I can't say it. But she one day was like, hey, there's a powerlifting meet that's going to happen soon, and I think I want to do it. You should do it with me. And then that kind of is where I was like, I do powerlifting. I am a powerlifter. I focus on 3 main lifts. I do some accessory work, but that's pretty much how I became a powerlifter, and this was a really long video, and I'm sorry. I can get long-winded frequently. So, just for those of you who stuck around for this entire video, you get a gun show! Yeah! Because I'm too lazy to take a photo. Yay! So, thank you for watching my tremendously humongous video. Take care. Bye.